pick number like in the first quarter. So I mean, like they ran
I
the
picked
ball down our
less
throat,
on
and it
that
was just
number.
right up the gut. They just ran right up the middle.
Mhm.
So that's how we are supposed to beat teams,
Mhm.
and they beat us at our own game.
Okay. You want me to bring it? I'll bring it. Stop Fiddler. You want to play GM? Get off your fucking ass and be a good damn GM. What you have to wait till a middle? You have to wait till a Saturday or late Friday before you can realize, oh, golly geez, we need to draft a linebacker. Fucking moron. What you do? You go sign Wilson or you sign Littleton
We asked
and
for
say,
it.
this is a little bit of fucking
Yeah, you did.
Seattle bitch. Once your ass goes back to fucking Seattle, you fucking miserable piece of shit. Ben McAfuck, won't you pack your shit up and go back to New York? You miserable piece of fucking garbage. You are the reason this team sucks. Well, no, I tell you what, better yet, why don't you go to fucking Nebraska with your bitch friend, okay, and enjoy yourself, some college boys, because you damn sure ain't no pro boy, okay? And by the way, let's call out this so-called wide receivers coach, that miserable piece of fucking Matt Rule wannabe bullshit. Who the fuck are you to think you know what the fuck you're doing? And people want to say Sam could have did this. Sam, by whose fucking orders? We only had 2 qualified wide receivers in this game today. Oh, now don't get me wrong. We had 5 active. But we only had 2 that actually know how to play wide receiver. We've got a bunch of morons running around there collecting a paycheck, act like what the fuck they doing. For the love of God, put Cody or CK out there and let them play wide receiver. You damn sure can't get no fucking worse. Put G-Baby out there and let him play wide receiver. We know it can't get worse than that. Because what we got, because let me tell you what. Because Higgins don't even play, so he don't fucking matter. LaVisca Chenault isn't a wide receiver. He's a running back who's pretending to be a wide receiver because the people up there are too moronic to know what the fucking difference is. And Shi Smith makes about 1 play every 5 games. I guess you can call him a wannabe wide receiver. Okay?
Dude barely catches kicks.
And,
I don't want him catching balls.
Scouting department, won't y'all clock out and go to the fucking house? Fact is, won't you clock out and move to Saudi Arabia or somewhere else? Maybe you could do a better job there than you did here.
He
and
did.
Guess what? Let me break some news for y'all. If Steve Wilks doesn't get this job, consider this a warning. David Pepper will not hire the next head coach if he doesn't have experience as a head coach. Okay, so you're not talking about the Eagles or the Lions OCs. They don't have experience being an NFL head coach, and Tepper ain't going that way. He did that way once. It fucked him.
In the middle of that call, Pickle did what I do all the time, where he's so angry or so passionate about something that you lose track of what you're angry about. That was a passionate call right there. We asked for it.
Pickle. I challenged him, and he brought it.
Yeah, we asked for it.
He brought it. I love that passion. Oh man, that's what makes this show so fun. Let's go to the next call.
It's the growl that makes him howl. A.K.A. Joey the Blind Panther. Feeling much better.
Good to hear.
Actually went to this game today, and I came away thinking that, we lost not because we were bad. We didn't look dumb. We didn't look like, oh my God, we really suck. Yeah, it wasn't like the Bengals game or the Ravens game. The Steelers committed to stopping the run, and they did. And they dared us to pass the ball, and we came somewhat close, but we didn't do it. We cannot beat them passing the ball. But as far as people saying, does this, what does this say about Steve Wilks and all that stuff? Dude, I still feel the same way about Steve Wilks as I did coming into this game. He needs to be the head coach because he kept he kept Sam Darnold, like, Sam Darnold didn't actually, he didn't fold. Like, he played well. He didn't fold, like, when things are not going our way. He just kept on going. He kept his wits about him, which is something that if you don't have a coach that is a true leader like Steve Wilks is, you're not going to get out of Sam Darnold. And I think that, the Steelers are just better. That's all. We really didn't look that bad. And could we go to the playoffs? Sure. But, we're going to win some and lose some. And I also think that this season is really a tale of two seasons. It's a tale of the first 5 weeks and the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Because if you think of it, it's kind of like you have to disregard the Matt Rule era or the tail end of it. But you can't, because it still counts as a record for this season. Anyway, guys. Wow.
This is glad you're feeling better, Joey. I'm sure that this game didn't help the recovery process in many ways. Your call made me think about something, though, and I want the callers to get on this. I want the chat to get on this. I'll ask Greg first. Today, did the Steelers offense beat our defense more than their defense beat our offense? Or vice versa? And do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, I get what you're asking.
I don't want to blame one or the other, but where was the bigger discrepancy on this team? Was it our defense or our offense?
It's a tough answer because honestly, our offense didn't play that bad. Our offense didn't play that bad, but they didn't play very well either. But their offense also was like 11 for 14 on third down, which is insane. Like, if you're going to win a game, third down is where you're going to win the games, like your third down plays. They were 11 for 14, I think, something like that. That's nuts. So, honestly, if I had to vote right now, if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably say their offense beat our defense worse than their defense.
I think that's the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chat room agrees.
How do you feel, Cody? Because I would point to this is that they won the time of possession, and time of possession is won by your offense.
Yep. They had a big
right?
20 play drive.
They had a 75% third down efficiency rate.
Yeah.
That's an offense beating a defense. And it really, and it just prevented our offense from having a chance to be an offense. We didn't run any plays, man. We ran 33 plays the whole game or something like that.
Look, like Dr. Rosen says, they took an entire quarter from us. If they do that, the only answer to this question is defense. The defense lost the game for us today. The offense was doing enough to put us in position. Now, if you want to say they didn't punch it in, yeah, that's a great question. I think the play calling was not good. But when your defense allows the opposing offense to have the ball for the entire third quarter, you were an abject failure on defense, and that's absolutely unacceptable.
Let me see. How do you look up just the number of plays that we had?
So I wanted to ask a question real quick because it just seems weird to me. So we were watching this in the man cave, and we saw at the end of the third quarter, that big long drive, that dude came into the huddle that was fucking weird as shit. It was whatever it was. And I don't know if that was the same one, but nonetheless,
You mean the Steeler player that ran over to the huddle?
No, wait, I'm thinking about a different part. That was different. But yeah, there was one where he had taunting Jeremy Chin. They had gotten down to the 8-yard line. He got up and he stood over top.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bring this up, CK. Yeah, definitely.
And it was a 15-yard penalty, right? So it took them back to the 22-yard line. My issue is when he was at the 8-yard line, that's first and goal from the 8, right? He got the penalty after he was accomplishing the 1st and goal from the 8. The 15-yard penalty should be assessed from there, and it should be 1st and goal from the 22-yard line.
Yep.
They gave them a 1st and 10 from there. Am I wrong in that at the assessment? That seems like a pretty logical thing for any position of that, because a 1st and goal, or from the 22 is a much bigger punishment than a 1st and 10 from the 22. Like that just seems absolutely asinine. Does that not seem like a bit of a problem? Or if that's the way the rules are written, that's absolutely ridiculous.
I think you're 100% right. You brought this up in the man cave, like you said, and I didn't think about it at first, but yeah, I think you're right completely. And that changed the whole aspect of it, because you're right. 1st and 22, 1st and goal from the 22 is way different than 1st and 10 from the 22. It's like a totally different ball game. It made a huge difference, and I can't believe nobody else said anything about it. Like, unless you're wrong or we're wrong, because I'm agreeing with you, so I'm gonna say we're wrong. I don't know why it wasn't like that, because it's a big deal.
I did. Well, if we were being overreactionary by saying, "Oh, Steve Wilks is the guy, that's the head coach," if that was overreactionary, I just want to put it out there that I don't think any of us on this podcast are going the other direction and being overreactionary to this loss. That now that means because we lost, Steve Wilks is no longer the man for the job.
Oh yeah,
And
I don't feel like I'm in that camp at all.
None of us do. I think that he still does a lot of things that the Panthers could use a lot more. And
I would. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, if you give him another opportunity to build this team the way that he wants to next year, it might not be a bad thing for us. But what I will say, and this is just being fair, it can't be one of those things where regardless of what happens, we give him the job. He has to have a good performance down the stretch.
I think
not get blown out, be competitive. It's time to be a competitive football team, and if he doesn't do that, I think it's going to be hard to retain him.
I think one of the things that maybe today makes me wonder more about is if Steve Wilks comes as in the head coach, will Al Holcomb be the defensive coordinator? I'm going to start thinking about these guys have to. Holcomb's got to prove a lot too. If Steve Wilks is going to go and fill out I don't think Ben McAdoo is going to be the coordinator. And this defense is going to have to play better to the end of the year for me to say, man, I feel good about Wilks just assembling the guys, his guys, and Al Holcomb being his dude.
Yeah. Tom Brady just threw an interception.
There's still 11 minutes. There's still 12 minutes left, but yeah, it's looking pretty good for.
Wow, dude! I can't believe that
he's done. He's turned the ball over a ton this year.
Even
Tony,
after today, we're still alive in this, man.
You were asking earlier, total plays: Pittsburgh 68, Carolina 43, Pittsburgh 325 yards, Carolina 209, Pittsburgh 22 first downs, Carolina 12.
They had twice as many. Not twice as many. They had I guess 20 more, 24 more, 26 more offensive plays.
Well, what's funny is yards per play, Pittsburgh 4.8, Carolina 4.9. We had almost the same yards per play.
Yeah.
156 yards rushing for them, 21 yards for us. They had 7 penalties for 81 yards, which I didn't really see in the game. We had 5 for 40. I felt like we had a lot more penalties. No turnovers in the game at all. They had 36 minutes to possession, and we had 23-49. So,
and that's what it is. They had one drive that had 21 plays. They had one drive that was 50% of our offensive production today. That's like, who's over there going like Ron Rivera's over there with his arms folded going, good job to the Steelers today. That's how you win a football game.
Mm-hmm.
This is Ron Rivera's wet dream of a football game.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you beat teams, man. It's like, the only way we could have been better is if we took 2 quarters away from them motherfuckers.
All right.
Next call.
What's up? This is White Chocolate Espresso. I want to call and make something perfectly clear. I want Steve Wilks as his next Panthers coach. He is my number one option. He should be considered no matter how the season plays out for that position. But to say locked, sealed, nothing can go wrong, he should automatically get this job, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. That's like, if Matt Rule, there's like a bad girlfriend who doesn't put out. Like, she just doesn't put out whatsoever. And for 2.5 years, we've had blue balls. And we finally broke up with her. And we hook up with his chick, Steve Wilks, and she puts out. And now we're ready to go out and buy a fucking diamond ring for her.
Yeah, he found the girl who'll watch porn with you.
Give it some time. Interview your candidates. And then decide. Steve Wilks is still my number one choice. If he goes if he wins 3 to 4 games this year, for the rest of the year, I'll say lock it in. But if he loses out, I'm still considering him, but he's probably not my number one option. Sorry, not sorry. If Jim Harbaugh wants to come here, I don't care if you say, Carolina's a top head coaching job. Nobody wants to come to Carolina.
Ooh, I
Bullshit.
Want
this is the NFL. This is not college football.
Which one?
It's a head coaching job. You pay. Tepper will pay. Trust me. You've seen it. He will pay. But to me, Steve Wilks is still my number one option. If the season ends with us going undefeated, stamp it. If it doesn't, I'm not going to put a stamp to it, but I'm still not going to not hire him. But to say, I won't even consider Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh, I don't care.
I can't ever get him right. I just call him Harbaugh.
Like, no, you consider it. You're not going to shut the resume up. You're not shut the door on him. When he has his resume in his hand. When he come here. But yeah, Steve Wilks is still my number one option. Peace.
I think it's
and to be fair, I agree with Kev there, man. Like, and I'm to the point where I want Steve Wilks, and I still think he's the guy. But it's almost not fair to not even look at other people, right? Isn't that kind of the point? Like, you just got to look at other people.
There would have been a lot. You have to do that no matter what.
That's kind of the point, right? Of the rule. You've got to look at other people.
Had he won today, Wilks, he had the opportunity to kick the game-winning field goal, and he didn't. So the application's getting harder. Harbaugh is an interesting character. I mean, I am intrigued by this idea. I mentioned his name several times in the past. I know people say, David Tepper might not want to deal with a college coach, but this isn't the regular trajectory of a guy who hasn't been in the NFL and had success. This is kind of like a Pete Carroll trajectory, right? Is guys that started or had NFL experience, then they go back to college, then they come back to the NFL. You got to wonder what Harbaugh's time in Michigan has done to change or add to his complexity as an individual. Has it helped him, to better work with people, and he's going to return to the NFL? That's the name that's intriguing to me. Then you got to start wondering what type of coach could work. I think we're at the point where we probably need to start asking is what kind of coach personality does David Tepper like? Does he need a yes man? Are we going to get a wet noodle now? Because maybe Matt Rule just told you what you wanted to hear. Are we going to get a wet noodle coach? Or are we going to get somebody who is going to be willing to do whatever he wants? Like that's too abrasive, that way he does, those are all, gosh, personality means so much when it comes to hiring these guys. I like Harbaugh though.
Hey guys, Sucks from Elizabeth City, aka Carolina Sports Guy. They do it to us every time, don't they? They get our hopes up. We think things are going to go well. And it's, I guess a couple things wear on me. It's not the losing here. It's losing to Pittsburgh and that stupid ass piece of shit, fat ass, overweight, and I'm talking about the women, not just the men, fan base to drive from West Charlotte or where they freaking come from out of the hills. I can't stand Pittsburgh, and I really hate their freaking obnoxious fans. To lose to them son of a bitches a day, taking their stadium, I hate it. I can't stand them. And this was our time to get them, guys, because they really are sucking eggs, and we blew it. Another thing that was so bad is losing a Mitch
Sucking eggs.
piece of shit, second overall pick as a poor quarterback. Gets his first win ever against us game, if you remember, 17-3 Chicago, and really they had no offense. It was all defense for the Bears that game. And here's Trubisky beating us again. It's pathetic. It's embarrassing. Now, I'm ready to hang up my head, and if Tampa Bay loses today, we're still in it. But here's what we got. What I want to see, this is really going to determine to me if Wilks gets his job, what he does against Detroit. Detroit's hot, and Detroit's playing well. If we lay an egg against Detroit, no matter what else happens, maybe Wilks ain't the guy. But if Wilks can come in and beat a very hot Detroit team at home, it's how you bounce back, guys. You're going to drop games sometimes. If he can win against Detroit and put us on par to play Tampa Bay in the next to the last game for a shot at the division, I can still believe. But I really want to see how he does preparing this team coming off this loss.
Yeah.
I think we watched Tom Brady die before our face last week, and I don't think anything has changed this week.
Yeah, no, it's
yeah.
Like if you guys saw this last play, and well, not last. I mean, who knows where y'all's feet are at? But it set up the 3rd and 7. It was 2nd and 7 deep. He's dropping into the end zone to throw it. He throws it to a running back who, like he throws it before the guy turns around, right? Like, so he's like trying to anticipate everything. The guy turned the other way. The ball was the other. It was still the most dangerous pass. Like that, it almost seems like now Tom Brady's so bad, like it's like about to just implode. That could have been a pick 6 right there. He's had 4 takeaways today, and that's a pick 6 you're throwing.
And he's just getting hit all over the place, dude.
Well, this is how deceiving things can be, though. Is like we're saying Tom Brady's having a bad game. Their running game's not doing well, like great today, and they've scored 1 more point than we did. And we said that Sam Darnold had a fantastic game. So that's
not.
Saying,
those are.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Looking at things on face
value
value
is
is not
Sam
necessarily the
Darnold
best thing.
had
That's what I'm
a
saying,
fantastic game, but he also didn't have
1
4
less point than Brady
turnovers.
has right now. You're right.
No,
that's
but
what I'm saying.
You're
like,
omitting a bunch of other stats too, and a bunch of other factors.
That's why
like
I'm saying looking at things at face value doesn't always.
His passer rating was it's like he's right now 3 games in without being asked to do a whole lot, except for today he was asked to do more. He's got the best passer rating of any quarterback we've had on the field in the past 3 years.
Sammy D. I just think it's interesting. I thought that the Tom Brady implosion talk was premature earlier in the season, but last week I was converted. I was like, man, I think it's just over.
Yeah.
And this week is not changing my opinion